Warmest welcome, everybody, near and far, familiar and new. I'm so honored that you're choosing to spend this hour of your life here with me, with us, diving into a solstice ritual of sorts. My name's Brooke McNamara. I recognize a lot of you, but a lot of you I don't know yet. And I'll just say that good morning. We'll have a chance for you all to check in the chat in a few moments, but I see some of you saying hello right now. And so hello to you in Oregon and New Zealand. If we don't know each other, my name is Brooke McNamara, and I'm calling in from Boulder, Colorado. And I am a poet, creativity coach, Zen teacher, and a mama. And all of those identities and roles are, they kind of amount to the same thing as saying, I really care about and I'm committed to learning and growing, continuing to learn and grow for the rest of my life. And at the same time, I'm really committed to and care about recognizing that which in me and all of us is already complete, is already whole, doesn't need to learn anything more, grow anymore, is free, awake, and whole right now already. So both of those are true. I'm so excited to adventure into creative practice and discovering together. And I always like to start resting on the foundation that we are already whole and awake right now. So just to invite you into both of those dimensions of our being. And I want to welcome you specifically today into this solstice gathering, the solstice exploration, where in the Northern Hemisphere, where I am, tomorrow night will be the darkest, longest night of the year. And at the North Pole, the sun will not rise. So it's the darkest moment of the year. We're heading right into that. And simultaneously, it contains the seed of new light. So it's deep dark with the seed of the birth of new light. And in the Southern Hemisphere, it's of course the opposite. At the South Pole tomorrow night, the sun will not set. I was telling my sons that this morning and they couldn't believe it. Really? In Antarctica, the sun will not set? And that enduring light contains the seed of darkness. And so I was sitting with that in meditation this morning and feeling like we're in a little bit of a yin yang, where at the top of the earth, it's darkness with a seed of light. And at the bottom of the earth, it's light with a seed of darkness. And so there's this incredible design and balance and power, I think, right now that I want to invite us all into. And so the intention of this short workshop is to explore and awaken to the wisdom of darkness and light. So to suspend or soften our associations of dark being bad, or maybe light being bad, depending on our history and our conditioning, and light being good, or maybe dark being good, to suspend those kind of judgments and to explore what are the wisdom and gifts of both darkness and light. Does that sound good? Okay, great. Awesome. Thanks for your response. So before I talk anymore, I'd love to hear from you in the chat briefly, and some of you already are doing this, I think, but just for you to put your voice, really arrive and let us know where you're calling in from in the world. And just to start with the topic of light, what are some first associations you have, with dark? What are some first associations you have with darkness? You could say fear, dread, you could say mystery, excitement, whatever's true for you. Fertility, yeah, beautiful. Fort Lauderdale, Montreal. Sleep, beautiful. Hibernation, heaviness, hibernation, good. Yeah, cuddling, death. Yes, so many associations we all have with darkness, the unknown, west. Beautiful, the night sky. South Africa, welcome. Pregnancy, silence, potential for transformation. Yeah. Flagstaff, Bay Area, Greece. Good. Beauty. So just another moment of allowing you to arrive, presence yourself, and share what you associate with darkness. Mhm. Uh-huh. There's racist colonial interpretations. Yes, there's so many layers for sure. Thank you for presencing that womb, creativity, silence. Yes. Okay, great. So after hearing just some of these qualities named and naming yours, once you've checked in, I want to invite you to bring your attention in a way that feels good to you away from the screen. And if it feels okay, to close your eyes. Not everyone feels good closing their eyes, so you can just bring your gaze softly down and soften your vision, sort of blur your vision. But if it's comfortable to close your eyes, just let those eyelids descend over the eyeballs and just begin to notice the literal colors of darkness behind your eyelids right now. And they might not be pure black, it might be more purpley tones, or blue, or gray. So visually, just begin to soften your eyes, let them fall back. Even if you're upright, let them fall back toward the brain, away from the screen. And we're just going to take a moment to soften. This will be brief, and then we'll come back here later. But just to soften in and back and down with our attention. And I'll say right now that everything I offer is an invitation today, not a command. Please adapt as you need and want and as serves you. Everything is an invitation, not a command. So if you're interested, just continue bringing your attention in, back, and down so that you're still aware of the visual tones of the darkness, but you're also kind of resting your attention and your energy down into maybe a darker, maybe a bigger, maybe a more silent or still place. Beautiful. And you can just rest here breathing, or if it feels good to you, you can begin to notice how from exactly here, whatever here is for you, there is darkness extending infinitely outward into the cosmos and infinitely inward into the microcosmic world inside of you, including your cells and also your soul, including the stars out there and also the soul or the subtle aliveness of the cosmos. Whatever feels true for you, go with that. Anything I say that doesn't feel true, just let it go. And without forcing or fabricating anything, just exploring, letting your attention unfold naturally outward and unfold naturally inward into whatever size and shape feels right to you right now. So just tasting this darkness and breathing as the darkness. Just let yourself breathe as the darkness. And if it's ever too much or overwhelming, you can gently open your eyes and move your body and do what you need to do. Otherwise, just breathing as darkness for a couple more moments. Okay, and like I said, we will come back here. So if you're really enjoying this, don't worry. We'll be back. And just go ahead and softly blink your eyes open and take any movement that your body wants to emerge from this darkness. It might be a stretch, it might be a shake, it might be something silly. You're totally allowed to be silly, goofy, make some sound, wiggle. You don't have to be serious or polite or professional for this call. So whatever feels good. Yeah, you're muted. You can make whatever sound you want. You can stick your tongue out or just, yeah, gentle stretch or twist works too. And I'd love to hear from, just for the sake of time, just one of you, what you noticed in that. And to hear from you for this workshop, I'll need you to hit reactions, which is down in the bottom bar of Zoom. Hit the reactions button that looks like a little smiley face emoji, and then press raise hand. And my assistant Jamie, who's awesome, is here, and she will call. I'll call on you, and then she'll unmute you. Just because of the numbers, we have you all muted. Okay, and I am seeing, let's hear just like one word or one short phrase from Michelle Weber or Weber. I love your hair.
Hi.
Hi.
Some peace. And I have one more word at the end. I was loving that I could scream and yell. My cat got a little freaked out
Nice.
because I was muted and
Yeah,
stretching. So
great.
thank you.
You're welcome. So peace and then some big expression. I love that range. Thank you so much, Michelle. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna keep us moving. I'll hear from more of you as we go. And I'll just say now, the basic flow of the rest of the workshop is gonna be me sharing a poem with you, and then some more of that kind of internal meditative visualization, and then some space for you to write with prompts that I'll offer. We'll have 2 rounds of that. Okay, that's a basic flow, so you know where we're going. So the first poem I wanted to offer you is one that I wrote, and I always feel a little funny and shy sharing my own poems, but that's okay. I have to practice being brave too. And this one just really asked me to share it, so I'm going to. And I wanted to briefly give you a little context for where it came from. My oldest son is 9, and I wrote this when he was 1. I was working on my first book of poems called Feed Your Vow. And I don't know why it's kind of crazy, but I was getting up at like 5 every morning before he woke up because I felt really wildly inspired by something, and it felt really good to write poetry early in the morning. So I woke up one morning to write, and I had my whole system of like my coffee would be ready. I would sneak away. I would find my little moment in time and claim my inspiration and my connection with inspiration. And the mornings that it didn't work were always very frustrating, and I got to work with my frustration. So one of those mornings, London woke up from his bedroom in the room next door right as I was getting going. And so, of course, I, had to suppress my anger that my momentum was interrupted. And I went in his room, and it was still dark. And I opened up the shade, and I grabbed him, and I nursed him, and he fell asleep in my arms. And then, without even trying, this next poem came through me because I watched the sunrise through the window. So this poem came as an interruption effortlessly. So I want to name that because one of the main things I like to teach in classes is that it does take work and discipline to be creative, but also if we tune into reality and then let our imaginations play from that place, sometimes it can be quite natural and easeful. Not that we don't have to also work, but I just want to share that this kind of came of its own accord. And it's called Change the Lighting. And Jamie is going to paste it in the chat in case it's helpful for you to read along. And I'll read it twice because I know sometimes it's helpful to hear a poem for a second time. So it's called Change the Lighting. If you can't change yourself after all the efforts, change the light by which you read your story. Exchange overhead for something softer, a lamp, a candle, a vine of shining holiday lights, and feel yourself become hugged by the fabric of shadows. You see the darkness here has wisdom too. You see these objects around become related by the pregnant emptiness that holds them and you. Let this light reveal the rapture of being just this. Then, further still, try moonlight or no light until at last this open, sourceless incandescence, which you are, no matter who you think you are, will follow you from the inside, wherever you may go, however you may change or not. So one more time. Change the lighting. If you can't change yourself after all the efforts, change the light by which you read your story. Exchange overhead for something softer, a lamp, a candle, a vine of shining holiday lights, and feel yourself become hugged by the fabric of shadows. You see the darkness here has wisdom too. You see these objects around become related by the pregnant emptiness that holds them and you. Let this light reveal the rapture of being just this. Then further still, try moonlight or no light until at last this open, sourceless incandescence, which you are, no matter who you think you are, will follow you from the inside, wherever you may go, however you may change or not. So, I want to invite you to settle back into the darkness where we were before with our eyes closed, body comfortable. Thank you for listening to that. Just drop back into the darkness. You can take some swaying or wiggling or undulations with your body first if that feels good, and then settling into tasting the darkness, breathing as the darkness, resting, unfolding out and in. Perhaps allowing any unnecessary tension in holding up a self, even if it's necessary tension for holding up a self. See if you can exhale that effort. And as much as feels good to you, soften into a velvet darkness, a rich, pregnant darkness that is perhaps full of potential rather than purely void. And just a few breaths here, joining the darkness. And then I'm going to ask you two questions, and you can either simply rest and breathe with these questions, or you can open your eyes and do some writing. They're meant to be writing prompts, but you're totally welcome to just hold them as contemplations. So, what is the wisdom or gift of darkness? What is the wisdom or gift of darkness? And if darkness had a voice, what might it say right now? My assistant Jamie is pasting those questions in the chat for your reference. And I'll say them one more time, and then I'll give you about 4 or 5 minutes to just sit with those questions or write. What is the wisdom or gift of darkness? If darkness had a voice, what might it say right now? So again, 4 to 5 minutes, just feeling into that or writing. Just about 1 more minute. 1 more minute with these questions. Okay, so going ahead and wrapping up your thoughts for this. If ever you're writing and it's really alive, you can keep going and just join when you're ready. Some of you are still resting in the darkness. That's great. You can stay there. If you were writing, find your way back into that place through movement, stillness, closing the eyes or softening the gaze, drawing your attention back in and down. Breathing as the darkness, And now I will invite you into a visualization, and you can either imagine this, or perhaps it will feel real of its own accord. So as you breathe the darkness, I want to invite you to feel into your heart space in the darkness. And this might mean literally feeling the place in your physical body, behind your sternum, more your subtle heart than your anatomical heart, but it could be both. So it could be there in your physical body. Heart space for you might feel different than that. It might feel vast. It might feel warm. It might feel interconnected with all beings. It might just feel like a field of love. Just get curious for yourself. In this darkness, what's it like to enter the heart space? And then inside the heart space or your heart space, I want you to imagine or feel a spark of light. So if it doesn't feel real, that's okay. Imagine it. You can create it, ignite it yourself. A spark of light in this vast, rich velvet darkness. If you don't see or feel the spark, that's okay too. No problem. Just be real with what's happening for you. If you do see or feel the spark, I want you to begin to use your breath and your imagination to kindle that spark. So maybe you take a little deeper inhale or a longer exhale, maybe like a blowing sensation, or maybe just a soft, continued, steady breath. But imagine that the inhale and the exhale in this imaginal space can bolster and kindle that spark into, I don't know, maybe a small fire, maybe a bigger fire. Just see what feels good and true for you. Kindling the light in your heart space with your breath and your imagination. You can let your imagination play. And what would a beautiful and nurturing fire look and feel like to you right now? There's different rules here in the space of the imagination than in the physical world, so you can play and break ordinary rules and give yourself what you really want and need. So continuing to kindle the light in your heart space. With your breath and with your imagination. Perhaps you have friends or guides or ancestors in this space, and they're welcome to join you and help you and play with you, work with you, whatever feels true. And now, same as before, you can continue to rest here and feel and play and contemplate, or you can use these questions as writing prompts. Jamie will put them in the chat and I'll say them out loud. What is the wisdom or gift of light? What is the wisdom or gift of light? If light had a voice, what might it say right now? So again, resting in your meditation and imagination, or just writing and seeing what comes. No one ever has to see what you're writing unless you want them to. And it doesn't have to be good, just honest. What is the wisdom or gift of light? If light had a voice, what might it say right now? In just a few minutes with this prompt. Just about one more minute with this one. About one more minute. All right, then go ahead and finish up. Unless you really don't want to, in which case keep writing. If you have finished, I want to invite you to take a moment to read what you wrote, both in the darkness prompts and the light prompts. If you didn't write, you can keep resting, or you can just open your eyes and take a bio break or do some writing if you want to. If you're reading through what you wrote, I want to invite you, if it's okay for you, to read it out loud. You're muted. If there's no one around, read it out loud if that feels interesting, and see what the words sound and taste like in your own voice and mouth. Or you can read it silently if you prefer. When you're done reading it, just pop a little emoji on your screen so I know you're done. In the reactions button at the bottom of the screen. Okay. Great. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Good. All right. I think enough of you have finished that I'm going to invite you to pause if you haven't. If this were a longer workshop, we'd have more time to hear from you all. But I do want to invite those of you who enjoy a little homework to play with making these two things a conversation. If we had more time, that would be my next invitation, is weave these different lines together so that, I mean, you could even turn it into a poem and title it A Conversation Between Light and Dark or something like that. But I think that could be really profound and beautiful and fun also, because you already have these two pieces of writing to just put them together in a way that makes sense to you. So that's your homework. Feel free to email it to me if you do it. And I have a second poem that I want to share with you with a follow-up exploration. Are you ready? Are you up for one more round? Okay. Again, if this was longer, I'd like to hear from more of you, but I do want to give you this next poem. It's incredible. Some of you might know it if you've taken my courses before. It's by the late poet Rebecca Elson, and she was a Canadian-American astronomer, brilliant woman who was also a poet. So she had really deep insight into the physical world and also the subtle. And you'll see she has a real unique poetic voice. She was diagnosed with cancer when she was 29 and recovered, and then it came back. And so she wrote this poem, I think in the year before she died, when she was 39. She died at age 39. And she wrote this poem as she was confronting her death. So Jamie will paste this again in the chat. It's called Antidotes to Fear of Death by Rebecca Elson. I'll read it twice. Sometimes, as an antidote to fear of death, I eat the stars. Those nights lying on my back, I suck them from the quenching dark till they are all inside me, pepper hot and sharp. Sometimes instead, I stir myself into a universe still young, still warm as blood. No outer space, just space. The light of all the not yet stars drifting like a bright mist, and all of us and everything already there, but unconstrained by form. And sometimes it's enough to lie down here on earth beside our long ancestral bones, to walk across the cobble fields of our discarded skulls, each like a treasure, like a chrysalis, thinking, whatever left these husks flew off on bright wings. One more time. You can take a deep breath if you want to or need to after that one. Take any movement. Sorry, I just hit my meditation bell. Antidotes to fear of death. Sometimes, as an antidote to fear of death, I eat the stars. Those nights lying on my back, I suck them from the quenching dark till they are all inside me, pepper hot and sharp. Sometimes instead, I stir myself into a universe still young, still warm as blood. No outer space, just space. The light of all the not yet stars drifting like a bright mist. And all of us and everything already there, but unconstrained by form. And sometimes it's enough to lie down here on earth beside our long ancestral bones, to walk across the cobble fields of our discarded skulls, each like a treasure, like a chrysalis, thinking, whatever left these husks flew off on bright wings. Okay. What do you think of that one? Wow. Yeah. Incredible. And she died not long after. Flew off on bright wings. So one more little adventure in our innerscape. Are you up for it? This is my own creative adaptation of a meditation from the yogic tradition. So I have to acknowledge my main yoga teacher, Nataraja Kallio, who I learned this from. And it's it's a very creative adaptation of a Sushumna Nadi meditation. So you can know it has ancient roots, and I have permission to play with it, and we'll see what it brings us. So one more time, I'm going to ask you and invite you to find your way into the darkness and feel how that is authentic and genuine for you right now. For this one, it'll be helpful if you're upright. So otherwise, I'd say lay down, but it's going to be helpful for you to be upright. But you can also be kind of resting into a chair or a couch if you like. Maybe a nice exhale allows you to soften and widen and open into this darkness. Breathing as the darkness, remembering its wisdom and gifts that you've contacted, its voice, its instruction and intelligence. And I'm going to keep us going. So now feel that space of the heart and the light you kindled there. If it went out, that's okay. You can rekindle it. Just see or imagine a spark. And then breathe. Breathe life into the spark. So allowing the darkness, allowing the kindled light in the space of the heart. And now I just want you to feel the ground beneath you very simply. So eyes closed or gaze soft, and just feel the ground beneath you, the earth, your feet or your bum or your legs touching the earth. Just feel that contact and that stability. And then feel your spine as much as you're able to. If you can't feel it, just imagine your spine rising up from your sacrum, up through the center of your torso, up through your throat to your head. Feel or imagine your spine and your head. And then feel the top of your head, the crown of your head. Just feel that place where there was a soft spot when you were a baby. And then feel and see, imagine the night sky. So even if it's day for you, imagine a night sky above you. A night sky like Rebecca Elson saw when she wrote that poem. Night sky, and imagine stars and moon, starlight and moonlight. So it's dark, but there are these soft, silvery forms of light, perhaps more yin forms of light. And then if it feels okay to you, so you have to make sure this is okay for you, you can soften the boundary at the crown of your head just to welcome the starlight and moonlight. We can say nothing else is allowed to enter in there. Just the starlight and the moonlight. And imagine, what if the stars and the moon could begin to pour their light into the crown of your head? Nothing else is allowed in there. And if you have protectors, you can get them on board with that. But starlight and moonlight pouring down to touch the crown of your head and then to pour into your head and down your spine. So receiving this far away, old, cosmic light. And then play with that. What would feel good to you? What would feel nourishing to you for that starlight or moonlight to do in your body? Do they kind of fill your spine like a lightsaber? Or does it then trickle out among the many little energy nerves or nadis? Does it pour out? Does it fill the bowl of your pelvis or drip down your legs into your toes? What does that starlight and moonlight do for you and with you? And then again, I'm going to invite you to stay here and just play in your imagination. This is for you to nourish you. Or if you want to, if you already are ready, just for the sake of time, I'm going to invite you into the final writing prompt. And Jamie will put this in the chat. So you're invited to write in response to, what was that like? What did you receive? Describe in as much detail what it felt like to drink moonlight or starlight into your being. What was that like? What did you receive? Describe in as much detail what it felt like to drink moonlight or starlight into your being. And if this feels too fast for you, you'll get the recording and these prompts later, so you can just stay with the exercise itself if you're not ready to write. If you're excited and you're ready to write, go for it. You can always do this later. What was that like? What did you receive? Describe in as much detail what it felt like to drink moonlight or starlight into your being. The last part of the prompt is to possibly give your description a title. And I suggested drinking moonlight or reasons to sip the stars. If you like those, you're free to use them, or something else that feels good to you. And those are in the chat as well. Go ahead and take one more minute. I know it's not enough. I wish we had more time. Okay, and then please finish what you're writing, or if you're still meditating or playing in that imaginal space, just gently bring yourself back to your body, your physical body. Oh, I forgot to say, let's make sure we close the boundary at the crown of the head. If you can be playful about it, yeah, you can just use your hands, or you can close your eyes and just imagine whatever boundary feels good to you. It doesn't have to be fully solid, whatever feels right to you, but just to not leave that wide open. And then we have just a moment. I'd love to hear from one or maybe two of you who would like to share anything you've written or anything about those journeys we just went on. And again, you just press the reactions smiley button at the bottom and then click raise hand, and I can call on you. And I do recognize sometimes after stuff like that, it's kind of hard to speak out loud, but let's try. Okay, great. Alexandra, Alex, hi. And then Adriana or Adriana. So first Alex and then Adriana. Hi.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank
So
you.
the wisdom of the darkness and the wisdom of the light. So the darkness said, be still, child, relax, rest, take deep breaths, take deeper breaths, close the eyes and go within, take deep breaths, take deeper breaths, and see all that there is to see. The light said, breathe deep, darling, breathe deeper. It's okay to go slow or fast. Breathe, darling, breathe. Open the eyes and see all that there is to see.
Oh my
Thank
gosh.
you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing, Alex, and for helping me breathe deeper. So beautiful. Thank you. Okay, I'm keeping track of time. I'm going to let you all go right at the top of the hour. So let's hear from Adriana, please. Thanks, Alex.
The very warm and cozy feeling of darkness in the womb of infinite self, with the wisdom of the ages and the potential for new worlds, a cosmic event of sorts that anticipates new beginnings, the eternal peace that comes from inside out and meets with possibilities indeed.
Mm.
The soft candle light in the heart reminds me of other lifetimes. They were always illumined with the light of the hermit, and the soul found out its way forward through the quagmires of the time and space, and so it is. And the reason to sip the stars, drink the moonlight and starlight into my being as laser beams that illumine all of the little corners that were dormant, to present and be the wholeness I am.
Wow. Oh, thank you so much. I really wish we had more time to talk about these, but just thank you so much, Adriana. That's profound and really full. Thank you. Okay, let's hear from Rochelle, and then I'll close us out, okay? And I hope you will stay till the end because I want to invite you to something that's upcoming. Hi, Rochelle.
Hey, Brooke. Hey, thank you. This one's it's a little dark. Darkness, digging, tunneling towards this meager, at times void, swollen and swelling, a pestilence we call optimistically life.
Wow. Damn. Thank you. That's
Okay.
it's really powerful. No, I really appreciate the three very different flavors that the three of you who shared brought. Thank you, Rochelle.
So,
Yeah. So we're nearing the end of our time, and I just wanted to invite you all to, if you liked this and you received something from it, I'm starting a 9-week online course on January 10th called Awakening to the Poetic. Jamie's putting it in the chat. It's meditation and poetry for coming alive. And we'll do a lot of what we just did, but in different forms around different themes. There's 30 minutes of optional meditation before each class where I'll give some instructions and guidance, and then we'll sit silently if you want to join that. And then it'll be 90 more minutes of poetry, teachings, writing, sharing in small groups, sharing in the big group. And in the past, it's honestly just blown my mind. I teach this very selfishly because I get so much from it, from just hearing other people's wisdom and feeling the gifts that are in our souls when we slow down enough to connect with them and express them without rushing or without being in kind of a capitalistic, productive mind state, but really settling into some magical inspiration. So that there's 3 price tiers, so you get to choose what works for your financial context. And Jamie put the link in the chat. I'd love to have any of you join that. And then just to finish, I'd love to invite you to put one word or a short phrase in the chat for how you are right now, just to presence yourself as we close. And then I will dedicate the merit of our time together, which is a Buddhist tradition, and then we'll be done. So if you want to share, just how are you? Embrace, wide open, hopeful, radiant, good. Oh, good. And live and inspired. Oh, beautiful. Amazing. You all are so amazing. Thank you for being willing to play in these ways. Grateful, 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 delighted, enlivened. Fantastic. I'm so happy to hear it. Awakened. Well, thank you for doing the work and investing your time and attention to cultivate these states. It's really a gift to our world. And that's where I want to end is I'll invite you to join your palms if you want to. And I want to dedicate all of the energy and inspiration and goodwill and compassion and light and dark that we've cultivated together for the benefit of each of you, for all of your loved ones, and for all beings everywhere. Thank you so much. Happy solstice, and I'll see you down the road. Take really good care. Much love, everybody. Thank you so much. You're all so beautiful. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye, everybody. Thanks so much for coming. Much love.